Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, people?
Welcome to another episode of Q Points, dropping the needle on Black music history. Let's get to the to all the pleasantries. Jay Ray, how are you doing this evening? I feel like I know we've been talking a lot offline, but it really feels like a month of Sundays since I've seen you.
Right. It does feel that way, even though, of course, we were here. Well, not here. I was physically somewhere else, but we were on last week. But it does feel like a lot of time has passed, and possibly because a lot of things have happened in the in-between time.
Well, the world is on fire.
Absolutely.
The world is a dumpster fire. So, yeah.
You know, but I'm fine. I am excited. We have a lot to cover tonight, so I'm excited about all of the conversations. I can't wait till we get to the movie conversation. I have so many things to say. I have so many things to say. But Sir Daniel, how are you?
I am excellent. I'm rested. I am abundant, and I am peaceful. I am like you. I was texting J Ray while I was in the movie theater because I am so excited to talk about this movie and very interested to share our thoughts on this movie that we both saw, and also to talk about our main topic. Which is Pharrell Williams.
Yeah, man. Who is Matt? Like he's something. We can't even. I mean, we're gonna talk about him, but we really can't even cover everything. It's impossible.
Yeah. The impact is deep and it's real. But J Ray, please let the people know how they can keep in contact with us and be a part of our dancery over here that we call Q Points Podcast.
I love to have people part of the Q Points dancery. That's so great. So listen, y'all, to subscribe to Q Points. First and foremost, if you are listening to this or you are watching this, the easiest way to support us is to just subscribe. And it's free. You're already doing it. It's great. So just hit the subscribe button wherever you are tuning into the show. And to go one step further, share it with people that you love. That helps to spread the word about the show. If you are like, listen, I really want to support those guys. These guys are cool. You can subscribe and become a Q Points Insider if you visit qpoints.com and click the subscribe button on our website. You can become a Q Points Insider, which will give you access to our entire archive of shows. This is show 95. We have had so many conversations.
Wow.
And we're not even running out. There's so many things that we literally have shows that we haven't gotten to yet, that we've moved. It's a real thing. So we have so much more to cover. So you can subscribe. You can also leave us a tip over on Patreon. That would be really cool. And you can buy products. So you can visit store.qpoints.com and you can buy some gear. It's starting to get warm out. We're going to start promoting them t-shirts. so that folks can have some fresh gear for the summer. Maybe we'll do some new colors, Sir Daniel. Let's talk about that. Maybe we'll do some summer colors.
I'm for it. I'm all for it because uh, look, in honor of our top the topic focus of our topic, we should have some like pastels maybe. You know,
Pastels would be great.
some ice cream colored things. Just
Mhm.
talking to just keeping in the theme of the seasons changing and the excitement that comes along with that. So, with
Yes.
that being said, let's dive into what's been happening around the world. Like I said, the United States is a dumpster fire.
Absolutely.
We've got young people fighting for our rights in Tennessee right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much going on, but um, I just find like we have to find joy in every little bit of thing, any little thing that we find. Like
Yeah.
earlier this week, J Ray, I don't mind sharing this. I overcame a fear of just asking for something that I need.
Mm.
And at my big age, sometimes I'm hesitant to open my mouth and ask for the things that I need. And I just got over it. I was like, you know what? I need this. I need to have this conversation. I'm not going to text, I'm going to call and ask for what I need. And it wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no. It was just a delayed response. So
Yes.
I'm proud of myself. Whenever you have those little incremental successes, guys, you need to celebrate yourself
Yes.
and the things that you're able to do. Do you have an incremental success that you want to share with everybody, Johnny?
Oh,
I mean,
that is
Jerry.
oh, actually, you know what? I do have an incremental success, as you know, um, Sir Daniel, and for the listeners, for all of you OGs, we've talked about fitness on this show a lot. I worked out
Yeah.
twice so far this week.
Get it, get it, get
What?
it. Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah,
That
and
that's
and
major. Good for you.
yeah, incremental success. I didn't overdo it, but I left the house. I walked outside. Um, and I worked out, and I got my heart rate up and was very excited about it. I have committed to, says another incremental success. I also committed to cooking at least 3 times a week. So far I have cooked twice this week. So I'm feeling very good about it. So I don't even know what my next meal is going to be. I'm going to cook something else. I'm going to cook at least one more thing, maybe more. So yeah, those are my incremental successes this week.
Congratulations. And listeners, listen. J Ray is a very good cook. He's a decent cook.
I
Um,
do try.
yeah, he's not bad. He's
Mhm.
a good cook. Um, Funny you mentioned food. I've also decided that I'm not going to eat after a certain time because again, this is a sign of age. I've been having really bad GERD, really bad um digestive indigestion
Mhm.
when I lay down, and so it's making my sleep unbearable.
Yeah.
And so, sleep is supposed to be restorative, and
Right.
if you keep getting interrupted, it's going to affect the rest of your day. So I know I can control not sitting, in the kitchen and reaching for snacks. I can control, you know, cutting off the food by a certain
Yes.
time so that I can have better sleep.
Oh, I love
So
that.
you and I, we're right here with the fitness part, the fitness part of our lives, because too many of our heroes
Ooh.
are checking out. Last September,
Mhm.
sadly, we lost Coolio,
Mhm.
who is nearly 60 years old. And
Young.
so just today, the results of how and what caused his death were released. And sad to hear that it was due to fentanyl. Now, I don't
We've
judge
talked about
anybody.
this. Absolutely.
We have, and I don't judge anybody that partakes in
Yeah.
any kind, whatever recreational drugs you take. But we all have to be so careful today
Yes.
because there are lunatics out there lacing everything with fentanyl, and it's killing people.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really sad to hear. And I'm with you, Sir Daniel. Like we're both aligned with that. Like we get people do what they do, and that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. This is scary though. Fentanyl has
Yeah.
now taken so many folks, and it is not it is not something you can come back from. Like, it's scary. So we absolutely, I think, definitely need to do something about how this is happening so frequently,
Yeah.
right? Um, and just a reminder, like you said, Sir Daniel, please, y'all, be careful. Know know all the things that you need to know about where your people that you trust, where you
Mm-hmm.
get your supply from. If I don't know what you need to do to figure that out, but we want you here more than
Absolutely.
anything. We want you here.
Absolutely. Just earlier this week, they also convicted the dealer,
Mm-hmm.
Michael K. Williams' dealer,
Yep.
because his death resulted in an overdose,
Mm-hmm.
and it that those substances probably had fentanyl in them, I
Yep.
believe, if
They
I'm not
did.
mistaken.
Yep. Absolutely.
So please, everybody, please, like J Ray said, just take another ounce of prevention before you take your ounce
Mm-hmm.
of whatever it is that you're taking.
Yep.
Shout out to Peppermint Gaddy who is viewing us. Thank you
What's
so much
up,
for
Peppermint
tuning
Gaddy?
in.
Mm-hmm.
Um oh, speaking of convictions,
Yeah.
today it was also announced that the murderers of Extentacion, they all received life sentences, J Ray.
Yep.
I think it's three defendants.
Three these three brothers received life sentences for the murder of XXX Tentacion. And my question in always in these cases is none of this was worth it. I'm like, was this
At
worth
all.
it? We have a man who left a family behind,
Mm-hmm.
who loved them despite what all the stuff in the media say, right? X had folks that loved him. And now we have these three men who are now gone from their families, and they also have people that love them. We just got to do better. This was senseless, another senseless killing, and we got to do better. But yeah, those brothers got life sentences today, and that's crazy.
It's terrible. Yeah, like you said, was it worth it? Was it worth the 5 minutes of fame, the infamy,
Right.
that you'll live, that will follow you for the rest of your life, and then you've now created a void in your family's lives because you're away now. So it's really sad.
Yeah.
Nobody wins in these situations.
Yep.
Um, we want people to stay with
Yeah.
their families and grow and be like your parents
Oh.
who would have who would have celebrated 48 years, is that correct?
Yeah.
48 years of marriage.
Yeah. Yesterday, April 5th, would have been my
Mm,
parents' 48th wedding anniversary, and that's so nuts.
wow.
Um, but exciting. It was also my cousin Taria's birthday. Shout out to her. I dropped her off at the airport bright and early. Yesterday. But yeah, April 5th would have been my parents' anniversary. My father passed away in July of 2021. And one of the things that was so dope. So today, Sir Daniel, my brother sent me a text, and he was like, I got a memory that came up, and it's a picture of my parents from 4 years ago that I've never seen. And it is
Mm.
the cutest picture. I actually, you know what? I'm going to show you this picture and show everyone. This is completely unplanned.
Let's
But
do it. We need more.
it's
We need images of love and kindness today. So please
absolutely. So we're going to
bless us
put
with it.
this up. Hold on. I'm going to drag it in. Give me 1 second. This is exciting. Um, there they are. Look at those two.
Look at them. And J Ray is will forever have his dad's face.
Yes, yes, I
Always will have his
will.
dad's face.
But yeah, that and I'm grateful for the time that they shared, and grateful that I get to, still be here with mom and looking after her. And so that's super dope. So happy anniversary to Brenda and Johnny.
Now, what
Who
did Miss Brenda say about the anniversary? What did you talk to her about
We
it?
didn't. We did
Bring it
not
up.
talk about it, which is so.
Okay.
We talked about it beforehand. It was like, oh, anniversary's coming up, and even like during my dad's birthday, it was like, oh, dad's birthday's coming up, but not on the day. We didn't talk
Okay.
about it. But she has not seen that picture, so I am going to show her that picture because my brother sent that to me within the last like hour and a half, so I haven't shown it to her
Sweet.
yet.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let us spread more love like that. And J Ray, I want us to, I'm asking you as my co-host, as my business partner on here, if we can spread love to our brother JB, Jonathan Blanchard, the
Mm-hmm.
owner and proprietor of JB's Record Lounge, because he's fundraising, because he's in a new phase of expanding, and adding on to the actual um, JB's Record Lounge,
Mm-hmm.
and his you know, at this time he needs our help.
Yeah.
He needs our help, seeking assistance from the community at large for donations, to help expand JB's Record Lounge. Just last Saturday, I was there along with the Wax Fundamentals crew.
Yep.
As usual, we were, doing our thing, providing music for the patrons of the store. And there was a picture that I took of some artwork, and I just really stood back and looked at what JB has been able to do to his newest location
Mm-hmm.
and lounge, and it really is a piece of history. It really is a museum of blackness that people need to be able to go into and to be able to touch and to lay eyes and lay hands on the vinyl, the artifacts of music that have been left by a lot of our great creatives, in the black music history canon.
Yeah.
So there is a link that we are going to share
Yep.
with everyone, where you can make your donations to help support JB's Record Lounge and their expansion. And we're going to continue supporting that brother because we've got things that we need to do, including
Yes.
having Q Points do a live broadcast from that location.
Boom. Absolutely. Link is definitely there, and it's also in the description for this show. So JB was our first official guest on Q Points.
That's
JB
absolutely
was
right.
on show number 4 in 2021, right at the very beginning. So just think about that, right? We're at show 95 now. So he has been with us since the very beginning, and we want to see JB's Record Lounge go to the next level. Next time I'm in Atlanta, so I'll be in Atlanta in May, I have to fall through. But I saw the pictures that you posted and others have posted, and it
Mm-hmm.
is a space for us, by us, that we have to support. So I'm with you. I'm in. So Q Points is going to be supporting JB in this. We'll have it on our website. We'll make sure that we add it for every show, and we'll just keep talking about it until he raises his goal. He's trying to raise $60,000. So we, as a music community, need to get him there. So
Absolutely.
donate whatever you can.
All right. Now,
Okay, so before we
the
talk
fun
about,
part.
so I know there was a question in the chat that said, "Are y'all reviewing music?" We're not going to be reviewing music for this show. We are going to be talking about Pharrell, so a lot of music is going to come up. So I wanted to shout out Raphael. I wanted to shout out Lorenzo. I wanted to shout out Lacoste, who was in the chat. Thank y'all for hanging out and joining us. And okay, Sir Daniel, here we go.
Here we go. So, I've always seen, when I go digging, one of the record labels that I always seen is Casablanca Records, right?
Yes.
Casablanca Records, their imprint, their label, the jackets is a very ornate cover. You can't miss it. It's like an oasis.
Yep.
It's named after this city in Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, or in Cairo. Don't look.
Somebody let us know in the chat. I don't.
Somebody let us know in the chat. I don't recall my what is that called?
Geography.
My geography is not up to snuff at this point. So let's just say yes, it's in the desert somewhere in northern Africa somewhere, but it's named after Casablanca. Anyway,
Oh,
so
Morocco. Thank you so much, Raphael. See?
Morocco. Thank you. See, that's why I love our audience. They're not gonna leave me hanging.
Yeah, and shout out White Label American is Raphael's podcast. Make sure y'all tune into White Label American too.
Yes, thank you. So, Spinning Gold, the movie was first of all, so Spinning Gold was produced by the Bogart family.
Yep.
It's definitely, and what I will give them is that this is definitely a passion project.
Absolutely.
This is their way of honoring their father, Neil
Yep.
Bogart, by producing this story chronicling the most intensive and most successful, like the rise and fall of this record label.
Yeah.
One of them becoming one of the more successful independent record labels in history, and they're responsible for us getting a lot of great music, a lot of classic music, a lot of music that will never die. Like we have Casablanca Records to thank for the YMCA.
We do.
Every wedding that you go to, you are dancing and doing the YMCA. And we're going to get into Donna Summers.
Yeah.
We are going to get into Donna Summers. Definitely.
We have to.
Or as I called her, Donna Autumn. But anyway, so I love when I heard about this movie, J. Ray, I was in. The trailer, I was in. I love these kinds of movies. I love documentaries. I love mockumentaries. I love movies that tell the story of, people that created something and their journey, right? I'm all about it. And so because we're music heads, Spinning Gold was right down our alley. And we saw when we were discussing going to see this movie, we were like, the critics don't really like this movie, but J. Ray, we're optimists. We're like, you know what? I'm sure it's going to be fine. Really?
I did not feel that way. Okay. No, I will tell you, I was unenthusiastic when I saw the trailer, but we'll talk about that. I'll tell you why.
Okay. Yeah. So this, again, I give credit to the Bogart estate for wanting to tell their father's story. I think a documentary would have been a better venture.
Yeah.
Or I think I would have enjoyed a documentary more than I enjoyed this movie.
Yes.
I know I napped at least twice in this movie. And that happens sometimes, but it doesn't typically happen when a movie is engaging and engrossing, right?
Right. Yeah. So to let everyone, for me, when I saw the trailer, my first flag, I'm a completely agree. This, after I left it, I was like, you know what? This actually probably would have been a really good documentary. Because there were several things in the film, structure-wise and writing-wise, and I'm like, I don't know if this is landing. Like, this isn't landing the way they want it to land. That's fine. But I will tell you the Achilles heel that I thought I was in for a change on. They had to re-record all the music. That's terrible. That was the worst. That was the worst part. And I get it. It's expensive to license. Casablanca was sold.
Okay.
He sold Casablanca Records. And that's how they made all the money. And then he retired pretty much he died a couple of years later. But so they obviously don't own any of that. His father their father sold it. Right.
Okay.
So two thoughts. First thought is, I left with a very a feeling in my stomach around the depiction of blackness in this film. It
Mm,
almost kind of felt like a white savior film to me a little bit. Like it was
hmm.
interesting his interactions with the black folks versus Kiss in this film
Yes.
and the way the film was written, right? So definitely had a challenge with that. I don't think it was flattering. I thought many of the performances were weird. It was fanciful. It was almost like a Broadway show as a
Hmm.
film. And I'm like, but this is a film, not a theater piece, right? I expect different
Right.
things. So, first thing was definitely around the way black folks showed up in this film. And then the second thing was I there were I was really interested in the the rise. I thought that could have been really interesting. I would have actually watched this movie up until the point where Casablanca blew up. But then we got a whole second half that was like, or not even really a second half, because it's more like 20 minutes. Like the last 20 minutes is like, everything is great. And then it was like an hour and a half of everything is terrible. And I'm like, I would have tightened it up. Um, def- Definitely got them depictions right. Did you see the Pips back there swaying back and forth? The Pips would have never performed like that. The Pips
So,
would have never performed like that.
okay. So to your point about depictions of blackness, um, Wiz Khalifa as George Clinton, I'll give it a, I will give it a pass. I'll give it
Mm-hmm.
a pass because there were moments where I looked at him and his posturing, and I was like, okay, that could pass as George Clinton. Lettucey as Gladys Knight, you know, Lettucey is a powerhouse vocalist. Gladys Knight is a national treasure. I, I was, I was like, okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But where I put my foot down,
Were you upset about
where I put my foot down was the choice in actress to portray Donna Summers. Now, hear me out. The young lady, and I should have gotten her name,
Taya? I think is her name.
Taya. So wonderful young lady. She's
Mm-hmm.
got her own great voice. She's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
She's a beautiful sister. My, I think this is goes to what you were saying about anti-blackness or the lack of care around the black artists. Part of Donna Summers' goddess appearance, goddess appeal, is the fact that she was statuesque
Mm-hmm.
and she was dark
Dark
skinned.
skin.
She was statuesque, dark skinned. She was, I mean, she was sex on stilts.
Yep.
Like, even, and so I can, the whole portrayal of having to come out of her shell in
Yes.
order to perform Love to Love You Baby, that's
Yes.
documented. We get that. She was from Boston. She was
Mm-hmm.
singing in Germany. All of that stuff is accurate. But the physical, there's a reason why you have to have some physical likeness for these characters. This is a real person. This is someone that we grew up seeing in real time. This is somebody that we've seen footage of her moaning on a microphone
Yes.
and having people eat at her feet
Mm-hmm.
because she is this amazing, beautiful black goddess of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And none of that was portrayed in this movie.
Zero.
And it was so glaring. There's a scene where he finds Donna Summer in whatever production in Germany she's at,
Mm-hmm.
and they run into the alley and they're standing. You can clearly tell that this young lady is a shorter,
Mm-hmm.
thicker woman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's
Not
not
Donna
Donna
Summer.
Summer.
That's not.
That is not Donna Summer. And it just I think that when they got to that, to your point, when they got to that part of the movie, I think I fallen asleep at least 2 to 3 times prior to that. This is when the movie is starting to go on an
Mm-hmm.
uprise, and the action starts, because we get into the history of how they got this record on this 17-minute record played on the
Mm-hmm.
radio, blah blah blah, all the hijinks surrounding that,
Right.
and it's a classic record, it's a sexy record, and honest to God, that's what I was here for. All of us have been talking about, and when I say all of us, I mean the Black community, especially Black Twitter, has been chomping at the bit for decades now, asking for a Donna Summer biopic. And of course, people have been coming after Kelly
Kelly
Rowland
Rowland.
of Destiny's Child fame to portray Donna Summer. We see it. It would be lovely. I don't know if Kelly wants to play it. It's good. We need the person to actually know how to act as well.
Yep.
Kelly can probably do it. Kelly can probably ooze the sex appeal that comes along with portraying Donna Summer. All of that happened, but for naught, because all of those things fell on deaf ears. They probably never checked with anybody in the community to say, hey, you know what? Who do y'all think would be a great portrayal of Donna Summer? I mean, I don't know. I know the movie process is a beast in and of itself, is a completely different animal
Yep.
than music, and they have auditions and things like that. Um, it just really took the air out of the tire of a vehicle that was already struggling.
Yeah, it was rough. So I don't recommend I don't recommend this movie. I don't recommend this movie. With you. I commend the Bogart family for for wanting to preserve the legacy of their father. I
Mm-hmm.
wished it was a documentary. Be,
Absolutely.
and there's more story to tell. You could like there's so much story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Um but yeah, it would have to be told differently. The Motown's through line was like was
It was just
was
like
sloppy and weird. I was
that's right.
like what?
The whole Barry Gordy is a gangster
Barry Gordy, and I'm like, Barry
and
Gordy's
putting out
alive.
hits
Is alive,
and
right?
putting hits out on people. We're not gonna fact check that. Like, we're not gonna say anything about that. And you know what was the best part and the most interesting part of the movie, J Ray?
Mm-hmm.
At the very end, they have footage of an interview of Neil
Yeah,
on the Merv Griffin show.
love that.
That was the most interesting part to me.
Love that.
We getting ready to me and 3 other people, 2 white women and 1 other brother, about to walk out of this theater,
And then his voice comes across the
and then
screen.
his voice comes on, and we all stop and we watched that. That was the best part. It's like if we had a documentary
Mm-hmm.
like that with that footage, because clearly the family has, the estate has some access to footage,
Mm-hmm.
has access to pictures. I'm sure that there are people that are still alive,
Mm-hmm.
the mother and the sister wife.
George Clinton is still performing. Gene
George Clinton
Simmons
is
and
still
them are
alive.
still alive.
Gladys Knight is
Gladys
very
Knight.
much alive.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's just weird, and I know if y'all wanted this to be just strictly about your dad, um, yeah, write a book,
Mm-hmm.
do a TV special, something.
Yeah.
This wasn't it. Like, to
Mm-hmm.
me, the best chronicles of people's music history have always been the documentaries. Like that Bee Gees documentary on HBO,
Mm-hmm.
loved it.
Mm-hmm.
The Tina Turner one,
Yeah.
loved it. There are so many examples of how this could have gone that it really makes it hard to accept what we saw. So
Yeah.
Raphael in the chat is asking, was this in the theater or streaming? It's in the
Yeah.
theaters, but it probably won't be in the theaters
It's
for long.
yeah.
And if you're curious, I'm pretty certain when it comes out on the streaming platform, you can check it out. and see what
Yeah.
we're talking about. And listen, if we're exaggerating, let us know.
Yeah,
But
let us, if y'all check it out, let us know. Uh yeah. Ooh, ooh. I was
it was
like,
unfortunate.
ow, that's not good. Um, but listen, we
One
saw
other
it.
thing, I'm sorry,
Go
one
ahead.
weird I thought was so weird. His inside team consisted of his first wife's sister.
Right.
And
And he
that's
was cheating on the wife with the other girl on the team. Is a lot.
and so I'm thinking, so you're not gonna clock him about your sister? You're not gonna go upside his head one time? You're not gonna wash him one good time and be like, yo, you cheating on my sister.
And
You
kept
never
working
happened.
with him after the wife left him. I was
Bizarre.
like,
Questions that need
sure,
answers. Sure.
sure, that's fine. you know, um, it was a lot. It was a lot going on. So that was spinning gold. We wanted to talk
Yes.
about it because we saw it. Um, you know what? Our white people won't save us pod. I'm curious to know what they will think
Ooh, yeah.
because this movie gives me white savior. I'm really curious to know what they think. So we're gonna have to reach out to our brothers over at the White People Won't Save You. Uh and so yeah, so Sir Daniel, yesterday not only was it my parents' 48th anniversary, it was the
Mm-hmm.
birthday of the Pharrell Williams, who turned 50.
Yes.
Um
See how
he
that
looks
coincides with hip hop?
coincides with hip hop. Hip hop's turning 50. Pharrell is turning 50. Pharrell looks 12. Um, he's,
That is facts.
both him and his father are like they must sleep at the fountain of youth. Um, but
That's called money.
it's called money, child. But
Yeah.
about 6 years ago, you've always been incorporating Pharrell, the Neptunes, the whole era into your DJing. And about 6 years ago, you did an event
Yeah.
with the Neptunes at the center. And as we get into this conversation about Pharrell, can you talk a bit about Prizmatic and why you wanted to do it at the time?
So in preparation for the show, I started just going back, looking over pictures, and um, I actually wanted to talk to a couple of the participants because I thought that would be really dope to have a conversation with them. But so 6 years ago, honestly, it was you, J.
Oh,
Ray,
oh.
that had put the battery in my back regarding this particular event because if anybody knows J Ray is one that will inspire and it's excite you to see a passion through.
Mhm,
And we had always had these conversations about being creatives
mhm,
and being creatives and making stuff,
mhm,
doing stuff to be seen and to be documented and archived. And you always had me thinking of, well, as a DJ, what could I do? What could I, leave behind as some type of archive of my love for the culture?
mhm,
And in having a conversation with the masked man himself, Ajmal,
mhm.
a brilliant artist and a keeper of the Caribbean
Yeah.
um, culture of festivals and
Mhm,
mass man and
mhm.
playing mass and the art behind that. He and I had a conversation at Starbucks. I'll never forget it. And we were talking about in the light of, mind you, this was 6 years ago.
Mhm.
So, in light of all the things that had been starting to happen, we had already come out of Trayvon Martin being
Yep.
gunned down. And then right after that, we just saw more killings. And we saw it felt like black men were being under attack.
Mhm.
But then at the same time, we had a movie like Moonlight come out,
Yep. Oh
which was
yeah.
also very inspiring and also made us look at ourselves in a different light, made us look at ourselves in beauty.
Mhm.
And so I was like, you know what? I want to do something to celebrate black men
Mhm.
in their best beauty because it was the line in Moonlight about black
But
men
men
look blue
Blue
in
in
moonlight.
moonlight. Yep.
And so it made me start thinking about us glowing
Yeah.
and being prismatic.
Yeah.
So then I came up with this idea of, let's celebrate these figures of men in these different forms, whether it's music and photography, playing masks, creating
Mhm.
masks, paintings. I said, and so we just started gathering local artists, people that we knew, that we know, who were doing things already
Yeah.
in that vein of celebration. And we decided to get together. And I said, okay, at the focal point is going to be the music of Pharrell Williams, but also celebrating the vision of Hype Williams,
Yep.
because the two of them, their arts kind of went hand in hand, because we
Mhm.
had this with the music of Pharrell and the Neptunes and Nerd, it came with different colors.
Yeah.
The music definitely gave us different colors, different flashes of light. And so to celebrate all of that, we had this event called Prizmatic. It was a very daunting process. I
Oh
have
yeah. Remember the
I,
venue changes?
the venue changes, the people that, you know, the people that some people that were involved that didn't think
Mhm.
that they were being credited enough, and all of those things that you think can happen in putting together an event happen. But it was also well attended.
Mhm.
It was, people loved it, they had a great time. My friends all circled around me to help out.
Yeah.
It was a very, people came in from out of town to
Yeah.
participate in this event, so it was very life changing. I have not done an event on that level since then. I don't know
Right.
if I will, but I am very grateful that I took that leap of creating that event and seeing it through. I was able to make some new friends
Mhm.
because of it. Um, yeah, I just look back in awe
Yeah.
and gratitude of that moment. Now you were there. You were
I was
right
there.
along,
I was
right
very much
alongside me
there. Yeah.
for the ride. What was, looking back? What's your perspective on Prismatic and artistically and about Pharrell and everything?
Yeah. I it was a I actually had visions of the event. So as you were talking, I of course was like envisioning all the different components, the getting the art up, the getting the lights right. Remember,
Yes.
that was a whole thing.
Shout out
So
to the Gratier.
shout out to
Yes.
the Gratier for coming in and with the projector. That
Hmm.
projector from that event is actually still physically in my house. It's in my closet. I still have it. For the Gratier was like, it's fine that you have it. It's still in there. It's so I have the
Oh wow.
projector from that
He
event. It's
clearly
still
doesn't
there.
need it.
You know, he's good. And it was a special event. And I think picking the music of Pharrell aided in making it feel like we were on a spaceship. You know what I'm saying?
For
Like
sure.
thinking of the artwork, thinking of the brothers that were involved, and then pairing it with this music and these visuals from Hype Williams, made us feel like we were in the future, right?
Absolutely.
And that's dope. So that of all of the things, when I think about Pharrell and his music, that's, I think, one of the most important, and you can't really quantify it, but I guess we have quantified it, right? Is
Hmm.
the fact that Pharrell like nudges through his work, has nudged us forward and forced us to think about music differently. And what's so crazy is, one, he's from Virginia. Of course, his cousin Timberland is also that same figure, right? To know that they both coexisted, were doing very different things, right? Musically, but we're both these people that were like, no, move this forward, right?
Yes.
is really important. And so you picking that as the music for Prismatic made sense. And I think of all of the things that we will celebrate Pharrell for, it is the fact that he has pushed us really quickly into the future of what black music sounds like.
Totally. I know we recently we've been having a lot of conversations, and when I say we, I'm talking about the collective conscious has been having a lot of conversations about black or Afrofuturism
Yep.
and what that looks like, what that sounds like. And you cannot talk about that without bringing up Pharrell, Timbaland, and Missy,
Yep.
because I don't know what it is about Virginia. I don't know if it's the racism
Right.
that makes people want to astral project out of here. Like, we need to get ourselves out of this godforsaken state in order to, in order to live our best lives. And to that point, also that what happened in 2016, it was a very dark time because
Mhm.
that was the onslaught of the Trump regime.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we were
Oh.
facing very dark moments. That we saw what was happening in the world. We had the killing of black men, and then
Mhm.
we saw that regime and that nonsense starting to take over our lives. And so it was a very intentional moment of shining light and glowing when the rest of the world
Mm.
was under darkness. And but and this is very la di da out there talk and whatnot. We could just talk about the boppage of
Yeah, we
those brothers.
talk.
But before we do that, we talk about the boppage. I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Why do you think we tend to gravitate to Pharrell and single him out specifically when Chad and Shay are right there also? Like, why have we? It was like Pharrell just became, for lack of a better term, was the Beyonce of of the team, I guess, and just
Yeah.
stood out.
I think that is, I think in both of, Pharrell had a role to play. He was the personality, right? When you
Mm-hmm.
are the individual who is comfortable being out front, he's easy on the he's camera ready.
Mm-hmm.
He and so now he's not only talented, he's also able to talk about it. And then on top of that, what we learn later as we get into kind of the late 90s is he is a competent performer, right?
Right.
So that's why I think he gets singled out. I don't think the reason why I think him, Chad, and Shay can come back together whenever they choose to is because Chad and Shay are doing what they do, and Pharrell is
Yeah.
doing what he does. And the beauty of people who can work together, staying together, is everybody knowing what their role in the group is. It's why Beyonce, Michelle, and Kelly work, right? Everybody knows what everyone's job is, and people do their job, right? Pharrell
Exactly.
did his job. Now, I will say, I would not have put money on Pharrell having a mega hit like Happy. Would have never, didn't see that come in, would have never seen Pharrell have like a mega, like this hit that keeps giving.
Mm-hmm.
But um when we
Giving back to the estate, but go ahead.
giving, right. Right.
Right.
I would have never thought that, but I definitely see him as the one who stuck out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because I guess from the very beginning, if we want to talk about before their
Mhm.
success, of like a lot of us, Pharrell was an MC,
Yeah.
and a lot of his early work was done
Ghostwriting. Yeah.
rapping and ghostwriting for other people.
Mhm.
We've got Rex and Effect have
Yep.
Pharrell to thank for
Rump
their
shaker.
mega hit Rump Shaker.
Mhm.
And he Pharrell shows up on the of a remix of Right Here, where
Mm-hmm.
he gets a whole 16 and he's rapping on that, but you can still hear his voice sampled in the Human Nature remix of
Yep.
Right Here by SWV. So he's just been omnipresent, like had his irons in the fire everywhere.
Ooh.
Um, Go ahead.
One thing I wanna note there as well. We're in this microwave world of you do a TikTok video, you get famous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pharrell churned through that Teddy Riley camp
Yep.
and had these incremental wins along the way before breaking out and doing his own thing. I think the point I wanted to make there is there's something about the process that matters.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right, because we didn't even know who they were for a
Right.
long time, for years. But we knew their work. Like we
Mhm.
knew, we saw splashes here and there. Like I said, we heard his voice on the SWV joint. But then, here comes Nori
Mhm.
out of nowhere with a
Huge
huge,
hit.
huge hit for him,
Yep.
because at that point Nori was considered an underground rapper.
Mhm.
But when Super Thug hit the airwaves, it was like, oh, this is different. This sounds urgent.
Yep.
This sounds the incessant what,
Yep.
and Khalees in singing in the background.
Absolutely.
It all made for a wonderful mix of what would become one of our, dare I say, one of the top 5 producers in hip hop history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this quote out there. So as we move into the late 90s, of course, the Neptunes basically take over everything. You kind of have in black music, you have two sounds. You have Timbaland
Hmm. Yep.
and you have the Neptunes.
Yep. Yep.
And that's nuts to think that they both come from the same place, right? They both come from Virginia. These Virginia sounds are giving us everything at that point. But you have this moment where um the sounds take over. They don't sound like anything we've heard before because that spacey that
Hmm.
loud, that really light sound that they were doing at the beginning, it took me a minute because we were used for I'm gonna use an I statement. I had become accustomed to, even in my electronic phase, it's like soulful, whereas this really sounded like a robot.
Hmm. Yep.
And you have this robot-y kind of sound, but you have like brothers rapping on it. Like, and it's like, oh, this is really different. Um, and there's this quote that's been circulated, and it may be true, whereas it said in the year 2003, Pharrell owned 43% of radio.
I believe it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It So in getting ready for this, and I did a happy birthday Pharrell mix,
Mm-hmm.
all vinyl. That should be going up on the
Yep.
for our Q Points Insiders. That should be up.
Mm-hmm.
J Ray, in going through that mix, I was like, my club days were specifically, I really didn't really like hit the clubs until maybe 98, between 98 and 2005, 6. And when I tell you, I just was transported to every party, every Thugged Out Tuesday that was there, and every other record, to your, like you said, had something to that he touched.
Mm-hmm.
Every other record he was touching. We're not even going to talk about the monster that grinding is. When you're talking about, because sonically, I remember when it was DJ Herb. DJ Herb came. this was when Milkshake came out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like Grinding, Milkshake sonically to the ears of a musician, a musician who's used to things being linear,
It don't make
does
sense.
not make sense. It does not make sense. The way, Pharrell loves a 4 count,
Uh-huh.
intro. We all know that. But then when it comes in, it's like these sounds, these
Yeah.
I liken it to it's like being at an amusement park.
Uh-huh.
If you've ever been on a roller coaster or that ride, there's this one of those rides where it's a circle and you stand in it,
and you
and the
got you get
faster it goes, you get
you the
pinned against the
wall.
G-force. Yes, and the bottom drops out, and you're suspended in midair while this thing is spinning at warp speed. Right? I liken it to that. I remember when you're in those things, when you're on that roller coaster and you hear the music in the background,
Mm-hmm.
because you're being whipped around at these very fast speeds, the music sounds warped and it
Right.
sounds different. That's what their sound reminded me of, and it didn't make sense, but oh my god, it made sense. Remember when we were talking about giving Khalees her props on
Yeah.
that show last year? I'll never forget that at the height of that record, the DJ brought that back at least 5 times to the very top. Like, it was like, oh no, this is the hottest record in the country right now. And Pharrell, of course, is a band geek, so
Yeah.
percussion means a lot to them. So it's this marriage of percussion and off beat,
Yeah.
off key, everything is off, but it makes sense.
No, completely agree. Those early 2000s records were a particular time. And I don't know that anyone's written about this, and somebody should. It might have to be me during the 25th anniversary. I think that Nerds in Search of basically birthed everything that happened in the 2010, like all this stuff that the kids is doing now, they learned how to do because of Nerds in Search of. That record, and it's fascinating because a lot of people haven't heard the original version. So the original version of that record that was released in Europe was traditional Neptunes electronic based production.
Okay.
I don't know the story about why they re-recorded the record with a band, but they re-recorded the record with a band. And we got the version in the US that we ended up getting a year later from what came out in Europe. So if you can find the European version, it's available. You can find it. You can hear kind of what they were doing originally and then how they reworked the songs. That record, which of course featured Khalees, which of course featured the clips, was like the perfect. And then you have Shay on the cover playing like a Nintendo 64 or some shit.
Yeah.
Is the perfect example of like alt blackness. Like the record is like blackness, but a little to the left and to the right a little bit. And that's what I think was so important about the Neptunes, right? The fact that this nerdy kind of music that would fit perfectly into a video game was now on the radio, was now the hottest thing in the club.
Yes. And even beyond that is the fact that Pharrell got to a point where Pharrell was working with gangsters and pop princesses.
Yep. At the same time.
At the same damn time. Like, and they would have all their records out on the radio at the same time or in the club playing at the same time. Like, and nowhere in like 98 did I ever think I would hear Britney Spears being played in a black club at the height of the night.
And I'm a Slave for You is a bop.
It's a bop. Who would ever thought that we would be listening to Gwen Stefani, and whatever. I think she was in her Chola era at that time.
She was
You
definitely in
know,
her Chola era at the time.
she was she was it was Chola slash Harajuku
Right.
era. Who would ever think she would be played in black clubs? And I'll never forget the first time I heard it. I remember when the program director at the radio station I was working at, I wanted him to add that song so badly, but I never said anything to him about it. But lo and behold,
Really?
that song was added to the rotation. I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of the DJs played it in the mix.
Yeah.
And then that's how it caught on. But it was already had a buzz in the street, so he was like, "Oh yeah, I definitely have to add this." And then hearing it in the clubs, it was in black clubs. It was like, okay,
And just so y'all know, we're talking about Holla Back Girl. Like
Holla Back Girl, yes.
So, okay, if we and during this time, Pharrell is also beginning to show up as a vocalist. He's eventually, so you got the Snoop joint, you got the J joint, right? So the late 90s and the early 2000s, all of a sudden, Pharrell is now singing in this falsetto that's distinctly his own sound, right?
And singing well.
Right? On these tracks now. So you're now getting him moving into this other era of like, oh, so now we're going to get singing Pharrell. Oh, one more thing before we talk about singing Pharrell and Pharrell as an artist. That damn Justin Timberlake better be so damn happy that Michael Jackson turned down them songs, because them songs on that Justin Timberlake first record was hot. Like, listen, Like I Love You goes, if I liked Justin Timberlake today, I'd still be playing that song. Like Completely. I Love You is a jam.
Listen, Justin Timberlake owes all of his success to Timberland and Pharrell.
Absolutely.
He owes his success to them. He owes his success to the black community. He owes his success to Janet Jackson. All of that. So, but that's enough on JT.
That's enough on JT. So now we get Pharrell the singer, Pharrell the rapper. Because so one of the songs, you don't know this, but I need to look. I'm gonna look now because I'm curious. Pharrell's "How Does It Feel" is one of my favorite songs of all time. And I'm curious to know at this moment, Sir Daniel, how many times I've played it in 20 in this year. So I actually keep track of many things that I play, and I'm actually going to look to see how it's trending. The main point I want to make in all of this is this man now transitions to artist Pharrell. And so now he starts to break away from, of course, the Neptunes thing. I don't know what the story is behind why. I don't, it doesn't matter. But we break away from that, and now he, of course, does a solo record. It doesn't do very well. And what I love about the fact that he did the solo record, the first record, and it didn't do well, was he was just like, it doesn't matter. I have 3,000 hits on the radio. It's totally fine. You know what I'm saying? So singing Pharrell is one of my favorite things to hear on a record. I love a singing Pharrell on a hook. It's fun to me.
Listen, that the record with Snoop, "Let's Get Blown," is probably the sexiest, most gangster record that has come out in the last couple centuries. That it's got a 60s vibe to it, and I think that's what his falsetto, he can owe that falsetto. That falsetto is able to transcend different generations, if you think about it.
Yep.
Because all the black male vocalists that do a really good falsetto are able to do various types of music, right?
Ooh,
good. But point. But yeah, I when Pharrell gets in his R&B bag, his ballad bag, I think that's
Mhm.
where he's really in his pocket. Like
Mm.
I think that's where a lot of his I don't know, he just feels real comfortable and really good in his pocket, in that pocket. And then the I do like the rock joints. I love that
Mhm.
she wants to move. She
Oh
wants to
my god.
move. But
All
it's
that nerd
those
shit is great to me.
all that touch a girl, touch a girl, touch a
Yeah.
girl, touch a girl. Listen, I could play that over and over and over again. It just works.
All the
It
girls
works
standing in the line in the
in the
bathroom. All the
bathroom.
girl that joint, I was like,
Yeah,
yo. The You Know What by Nerd is a great fucking song, y'all. Like it's a
totally.
great song. So
Raphael
yeah.
has a question. Raphael has a
Oh, let
question
me
in the chat.
see. Do okay, so a couple of things from Raphael, by the way. JT owes his success to blackness. Thank you. It's all good. He's back to his roots now. That's hilarious. Thanks, Raphael. And Raphael does have a question. Do you prefer Pharrell singing solo or in a duet or feature with another artist? Um,
Hmm.
Good question. I have fun. Oh, singing Pharrell. Okay, rapping Pharrell, I don't mind solo. Cause how does it feel? Is Pharrell rapping solo? That's fine. Singing Pharrell, I don't mind because I mean I like Happy as a song as well. I also like Brand. Him and Justin Timberlake did Brand New together. It's fine. I like that song. I like it. Um, so I think I will take singing Pharrell either way. I don't mind. I can take him solo or as a duet. What about you, Sir Daniel?
Same. He adds that pop of flavor to everything. Um, One of my favorite songs by Mariah Carey is "Say Something," and
Oh my.
I don't think he's featured. His vocals aren't featured on that, but that's just one of my favorite songs
Mm-hmm.
by him, by Mariah and Snoop. But of course, we have them to we have Pharrell to thank for that one. But yeah, I could take him on both, rapping
Yeah,
or singing.
yeah,
He's really dope at it.
I agree.
Even remember when Missy's WTF record came out
Which is
a
a
couple
hot
years
record
ago?
that folks was trying to sleep on. Don't sleep on that record. It's hot.
That record was so friggin' hot. You know, I wore that joint out.
I know.
I wore that sucker out because we were in that trap era.
Yep.
We were trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes Missy and Pharrell with a
With a
doom, doom,
boom,
doom,
boom, boom, boom,
doom,
boom,
doom,
boom,
doom,
boom.
and then a rolling
Yes.
bass line. You know, I live for all that foolishness. But
No,
yeah,
so yeah, even on that joint where he was like, he slipped right in with Missy. Of course, he produced that joint, which is also the thing. Pharrell, let me finish that thought. He slipped right in. He rapped. He produced that joint and he rapped on that joint. It's amazing. I think the other thing I want to highlight is that he's a chameleon as
yeah,
well, because WTF, I wouldn't have assumed it was a Pharrell joint. It makes sense, right? I just thought he was on it. And then I'm like, oh, Pharrell produced this joint. The other joint that he produced that I was really surprised by, Solange's I Decided. It's
yep.
produced by Pharrell. I think it's a Neptunes joint, but I was surprised.
That Solo Star, her first album, the Solo Star, that's a Neptune's production.
Really? Okay, so I ain't heard that record, so I don't know nothing about Solo Star.
Yes, if I could get my hands on a piece of vinyl of Solo Star,
Mhm.
that would be it. That would be a great find. But
Yeah.
yes,
I'm gonna answer Raphael's question. Which is your favorite? I've already named it. Definitely. How does it feel? Is one of my go-to Pharrell joints. I play that song often. A lot, a lot. Um, Fashion. So not only is Pharrell, of course, known as a musician, he's literally a fashion icon.
yeah, so if on the mix, you're gonna hear me say, "Okay, guys, let's put on our trucker hats and our Ed Hardy and our skater boy shorts and Vans, and hop on our skateboards and time travel back to the early 2000s. Because to your earlier point about Pharrell, and the guys in Neptunes talk,
Mm-hmm.
doing that alt black, nerdy black boy kind of feel, that to this day superstars like Tyler the Creator still
Absolutely.
credits them, that particular album, for changing his whole life, and literally bringing Tyler the Creator, who he is today, to us now. And so, and fashion plays a part in that, because
Mm-hmm.
everything black people does all everything black people do is cool. What
Yeah.
we do is cool. So then, of course, it was a no-brainer that the fashion was going to follow, especially with the sneakers and the whole ice cream brand that came along, and bathing apes,
Yeah. And then
and what else?
Billionaire Boys Club.
Billionaire Boys Club. What were the sneakers called? The ones that had the shooting star on the side. I can't
Oh,
remember.
I can't remember. If anybody knows, let us know.
Let us know. But it just made sense, because he already showed to us that he has the freedom to do anything musically. Of course he's going to feel freedom enough to do anything fashion wise. And there was um this growing segment of the community, of especially young black men, who wanted to break out of the tough guy mode and what they thought they were supposed to look, and finally found a muse in
Mm.
Pharrell, someone who is, who identifies as a straight man,
Mm-hmm.
and but not overly kill him dead masculine or nothing
Right.
like that, but somebody they can identify with and not have to put on airs and be cool.
Mm.
So of course, those kinds of things impact the culture on a major level. And he starts connecting with Kanye, and they formed that fashion that high they remind me of the high school fashion club kids. You know,
Right.
that would that would always put on everything all at the same time.
I can't take it. They're just like wearing all the things, right?
All the things, because I think there's a picture floating around of like Kanye, Virgil Abloh,
Mm-hmm.
what's his name, Diddy's ex henchman,
Farnsworth.
Farnsworth, Bentley, and the other guys, that group. Anyway, so there's a whole
Mm-hmm.
bunch of them that was in the fashion boy club, and they did their thing. They made a mark. That was that era where all the musicians, it was like you were almost expected to come out with a line. You had House of Darion, you
Yep.
had Gwen Stefani's clothing line. What's the sneakers? The girls, Ice, Russell Simmons' daughters.
Yep. Yep.
You
Yep.
know, so it was just a zeitgeist that they were really catching onto and helping to create a new type of look and feel for that generation of young black rock stars.
You know, um, I didn't think about this until now, but I think, excuse me, Pharrell also gave black men of a certain age of freedom. There's a there is a respectability that says if you are this age, you need to dress like this.
Right.
Whatever the this is. Pharrell broke all of those molds where it was like if you wanted to wear at 40 a trucker hat, some t-shirts, and some skateboard sneakers, that was gonna or some that was gonna be okay. Or he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna wear kilts and that's gonna be okay, or
Right.
whatever. Like he gave um brothers who are our age like a more room to express ourselves fashion wise without
Mm-hmm.
the confines of what traditional um society traditionally would say men of a certain age need to look like, right? Pharrell helped to expand that definition. Hip hop definitely did, but I think also Pharrell as a figure did too, because he certainly didn't look like everybody else. He didn't look his age, as the people would say.
Right. Because, like, if we look back at pictures of our parents when they were
Mm-hmm.
our age, they definitely, everything was, they looked like they were dressing up to go everywhere. It was a very formal
Mm-hmm.
kind of dress, still fly.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely our generation, the hip hop generation, we are definitely like the cool uncles and aunties that rock, are still will still rock some Jordans with a suit. We're just
Yeah.
that generation. We're comfortable in mixing the business casual and the athletics and being fly with it. We're just the fly generation.
Yes.
And we are
Oh.
our yes. We're
Oh,
just the
I
fly
love it.
generation. And yeah, I see, even Raphael is saying
Yeah.
that he did mirror some.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't realize it, but you were dressing like them, and that's the beauty and that's the magic of rock and roll, as it were, being a black. Oh, we before we get off here, we got to talk about The Boy Who Kissed the Sky.
Oh, yeah.
Be-
So can we do that right after we finish? So I want to hear all
absolutely,
about, yes.
absolutely,
So we're gonna talk about The Boy Who Kissed the Sky. I'm excited to hear because you went to see it.
because this goes right along with this conversation. Yes.
Absolutely, especially the imagination. Love that. So
Mm-hmm.
I talked about my my favorite Pharrell song, which is so interesting. It's how does it feel? But it is. Um, I think if I were to go into, oh, and Get Along with You would probably be my other,
Mm,
like my one and my two of like songs that Pharrell has touched. Those songs are really notable to me.
for sure.
What are a couple of notable Pharrell songs for you?
Definitely the Touch It Girl, She Wants to Move.
Mm.
Um yeah, I can't agree with you more about Get Along with You. Get Along
Mm-hmm.
with You is, I don't think, gets the love that it should.
Mm-hmm.
And God, there's just countless others. Like I said, the Mariah Say
Say
Something
Something is great.
is crazy. And of course, I said Let's Get Blown.
Yeah.
Those, I get transported anytime I hear those songs.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely get transported every time I hear those songs.
It's the spaceship. It's the Star Trek spaceship um that we definitely get transported onto. Um Pharrell Williams is and continues to be one of the most important um artists of in music. He's
Hmm.
still working and producing hits, and this was just really a Pharrell happy 50th birthday conversation. And
Yeah.
there's so much more. We could literally take pieces of each thing that we've talked about and talk about that for an hour.
Hmm.
But drop in the chat for those of you who are hanging out with us. What are some of your favorite Pharrell joints? For songs that he's touched or been featured on, let us know what you love. But I want to hear about The Boy Who Kissed the Sky. So you went to see that.
So if you guys remember, we had the opportunity, amazing opportunity, to speak with the co-composers
Mm-hmm.
of The Boy Who Kissed the Sky, Divinity Rocks,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to
Eugene
butcher his
Russell,
name, Eugene Russell
Russell
the
the
Fourth,
Fourth.
blessed us with an interview to talk about the music and their experience in creating this show and being a part of this play. J Ray, this whole conversation about Black boys being able to astral project and
Mm.
see all of their imagination, all of their thoughts and dreams come to fruition was done right there on the in that play. I got a little choked up at the end of the play because it was just a realization, because he goes through a physical change where we begin to see him evolve into a full musician, the musician that he's always wanted to be. And again, this play is um built around the genius of Jimi Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
It's all original music,
Mm-hmm.
but the story is still very poignant to this day. It still speaks to young boys, black boys especially, having the space and the permission to imagine and to be all that they want to be, regardless of what it is. The fact that he
Mm.
had a father that was supportive. um it was a play. Listen, the kids enjoy it. And when I say kids, it's spring break here in
Yeah.
Georgia. So I happened to see it during a matinee. And when I tell you, it was a theater full of children, some that might have been too young to really appreciate it. But there, I guarantee you, there was a young black man, a young black boy that was sitting next to me. He couldn't have been more than 12. I can guarantee that something he saw and heard in that play sparked something in his brain, in his
Mm.
imagination, and I pray that it's a seed that grows and grows him into being somebody magnificent in this world, or
Oof.
just being 100% who he was put here to be.
Mm.
And so I was extremely happy to have witnessed the play. Visually, it's stunning.
I love
It's
it.
visually stunning. Um, the actors and actresses, the musicianship of it all, it was A1. I can't say enough about it. It's only here until the 15th here in Atlanta. It's possibly going to be on the road somewhere else. I'm not certain. But if you are here in Atlanta between now and April 15th, you gotta cop those tickets and see The Boy Who Kissed the Sky. Amazing, amazing. And what is the name of the writer? Idris.
I'm gonna pull his name. The boy who
We, we
kissed the sky.
definitely need to shout him out, because
His name is
without him,
Idris Goodwin.
Idris Goodwin putting pen to paper and creating these characters and that dialogue is was very necessary. And I'm grateful. I was very grateful to have witnessed it. So shout out to our friends at the Alliance Theater, Mashawn D. Simon, and the cast and crew. That was an amazing play. Amazing play. And it is very appropriate for us to talk about it while we talk about the legacy of Pharrell Williams and his legacy of allowing black boys,
Yeah.
Tyler the Creator,
Yeah.
Kanye, all the ones that came after him, allowing them, giving them space to imagine the worlds that we have gotten to enjoy that they created.
I love that so much. Y'all, listen, that's what music has the opportunity to do. Thank y'all for hanging in with us for a longer show. We definitely wanted to spend time talking about spinning gold, and we're happy that we got a chance to talk about it. And and then of course talk about Pharrell and wish him a happy 50th birthday. Make sure that if you're interested in Q Points, subscribe wherever you are, share the show, let folks know about it. That is absolutely free, don't cost you nothing. But if you want to support your boys as well, you can do that by going to qpoints.com, clicking the subscribe button, and you can become a Q Points insider. And you can also shop for Q Points gear at store.qpoints.com. Sir Daniel and I, we're gonna talk about some colors. We're gonna talk about updating some of the colors and all of that.
Yeah.
So I want to bring in a comment. P. Michael said, Frontin' was my first song and vocal exposure to Pharrell. I've kept Mr. Williams on my radar ever since. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for joining in for the show. And thank all of y'all for hanging out with us for another edition of Q Points.
J Ray, what do I always say in this life? You have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
My name is J Ray, y'all. Peace.
And this has been Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We'll see you on the next go round.
We sure will. So we gonna play the outro. The outro is coming. You know it'd be slow. So we are figuring it out. I don't know why it'd be slow.